All right, thank you so much for joining us. Now, I have Prof. now from Abuja, whom I introduced earlier, was to speak to us around issues of FX. Is joining us from Abuja, Professor Ofili Ogadioha. Prof, good afternoon, and thank you so much for your time on the program.
Yeah, Tolu, thank you very much, and sorry for the hiccups. That's what Nigerian communication system is, but thank God we are here.
Yes, I'm so excited you are here, Prof. So excited. Prof, let's look at the state of the market at the moment. It's not looking pretty good. I can see your smile. 1,400 naira, 1,000, almost 1,500 naira in some cases. How did we get here?
Well, thank you very much for this, and thank you for having me once again. You see, the problem we have with the FX market is the central banks allowing the FX to be determined by forces of market and forces of supply and demand. And we all know, even before this administration came in, that the available FX in the country or in the system is not sufficient for the economy. Leaving it for the forces of supply and demand, it is what we are seeing now. So that's the major problem. And again, I always say that it's not good for an economy that is 80% import oriented to allow its currency to be in this way. Because first of all, when the government came in, they devalued the currency. And devaluing the currency means that Nigerians have to pay more to bring goods in. And when they pay more to bring goods in, it engenders inflation. It engenders hardship. It engenders also criminality, because some who were not criminal before have turned to be criminals because they cannot afford sitting down in the house without feeding themselves and feeding their families, or without taking their children to the hospital or their families to the hospital. This is the problem we have now. And I always appeal to government to look at this policy, because if you take a policy that is not very much in tandem with your economic plan, you can reverse it. So it is giving us a lot of problems. These two things, the valuation of the currency, first of all, was a problem. Then secondly, allowing it to float. Allowing it to flow to the market forces is another problem. Because we all know that the amount of dollars available in the country is not enough. So as more, and again, thirdly, it has been left to the banks, even commercial bank, to partake now in that order. And the commercial bank is also allowed to fix the rates, which they feel that this is their cost and this is how much they get the fund. So at that point, you can see what is happening. The government policy in allowing the commercial bank to come in is actually meant to allow more people partake and have more outlet. But it turns out to become the opposite. So that's why I say if a policy is made and that policy does not work in tandem with your plan, you have to reverse the policy. This is not a very friendly monetary policy for the country, because we cannot grow like this. Because manufacturers have to import their goods and services. And importing at this level, nobody can produce in Nigeria at this point. Because first of all, we don't have raw materials here. We say we are producing, manufacturing, we do manufacturing, we encourage manufacturing. But how do you encourage manufacturing here when all the goods and services that you need, particularly the goods you need, the raw materials you need, are from outside? The basic principle of encouraging manufacturing is encouraging agriculture. And if agriculture is in high productivity, industries can use the agricultural output. Such output, which will come our agricultural product, which will be used as raw material for industries. That is how it is in every part of the world, and our own cannot be different. If we are producing our raw materials here in Nigeria, then we reduce the importation. That will solve the problem. But how do you do that? When the Fulanis are still on the road, they are still on the road attacking people, even going on the road on your own, not to talk of those who try to go into the bush. So the herdsmen unleash horror and terror on people. Therefore, people desert from their farms. Even in the Northwest, that is producing heavily in agriculture, they are no longer doing it because of the banditry and the insecurity there. In Southeast, people don't go to farm. They just farm around their houses to be able to have something to feed. So if the agric is not revived, if the security that killed the agric sector is not actually taken care of, this situation will even get worse in the near future.
Prof, let's look at interventions of CBN in recent times, because we've talked about their monetary policy now. You said it needs to be rejigged. We've seen payments for some sectors, about $500 million was released. And of course, the airlines are being sorted out, though there are still some claims from commercial banks that need to be cleared. Do you think there is any impact in all of this?
Yes, there will be an impact, but it cannot be immediate. The impact will start with the airline operators, the foreign airline operators that were threatening to leave Nigeria. So the release of that money, which is $64.44 million, it has calmed the nerves. That does not solve the problem, because they are alleging that they are owed $700 million and you paid 44. So that doesn't solve the problem, but it will solve some. It will have some little impact, in the sense that the threat they have been threatening, that everybody was afraid. Okay, if the foreign airline goes, where is Nigeria? So at least they have stopped the threat, but they are still demanding for more. So that is a good impact. Then, on the issue of release of the 500 million, is something that will take time before it works. It's not just easy to release the 500 million. If you release the 500 million, at what rate at what rate is the money being exchanged for Naira? If you release it to them, on what condition do you release it to them? It's not free money. They will still pay you back. So it could have been better to ease out the process of getting funds, to all, because that 500 million is released to some specific sectors. But I'm quite sure that the main sector, which is SME, that Nigeria needs more, a chunk of the money may not even go to them. And if a high level of this money does not go to them, the impact will be minimal. So it will be difficult to notice it. Because a trader that is importing goods from Dubai, a trader that is importing from maybe Canada, US, and this and that, and is not a big manufacturer, may not be touched by that money. And these are the things that affect or impact directly on the micro and macroeconomic system of the country.
Okay,
So,
Prof, let
yes.
me allow you to take some water while I ask the next question. Yes, so I can allow you take it. Now, the commercial banks, we've mentioned them, they have a role to play. And the CBN is saying sell excess FX and, bring down this pressure. And some we're already getting feelers, even from the other market, that everyone is having that fear that dollars might just be everywhere, manufacturers might be able to access and all of that. Do you think this is also a step in the right direction? That's this new directive by the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Yeah, I said it earlier. That is a very good step taken by the government, because a government thought that if commercial banks are allowed to partake in FX activities, it will reach more people. That is a very good direction. But what we are seeing now is taking a different dimension from what government planned. Because if you allow commercial banks to take decision on how much they give people, how much is their markup, then it will sort of worsen the situation, because banks want their profit at the expense of the customers at all times. Look at the loans. Look at so many other things. I was discussing with one of my colleagues. He's a manager in the commercial bank, and I was asking, how you are declaring so much profit? He said, yes, because we are getting more activities from FX, because we are now allowed to buy and sell at our own rate. I was asking, which means all the banks don't have uniform rate? They say yes. And this is the problem. Because if you allow everybody to buy maybe at 80 naira or 800, and is now selling it to us at 1.4, so what is the regulation then? So it is good that they are allowed to partake, but there must be stringent regulation that controls them and also monitor what they do. It's not yielding the desired impact as planned by the government.
Prof, time is fast spent. The challenge we had joining. In 1 minute, what is your outlook for the economy?
Well, the economic outlook, the way I see it is difficult to predict. You can see our projected GDP at 3.3. But as far as I'm concerned, we may not be able to meet it up. Because how do you meet up GDP when productivity is going down? How do you meet up GDP growth when the planned activities are not being achieved? Today, we are producing crude oil at 1.5 million per barrel. Our planned production, as per the budget, is 1.7 something. So how do we meet up? We have already started from the beginning and failing from the beginning. If you calculate the percentage of the drop, you know that our projection will never meet the way it is. Then you know that IMF projected 3.1 in the past. They have reduced it to 3 now, and I'm sure they will reduce it again, because projection is just like a forecast. And if you forecast something that is too far from the reality, there's a possibility, high level of possibility, that you may not meet up. So look at our inflation rate. The inflation rate is today 32. No, okay, not to. The inflation rate
food is 32. Inflation is 28.92.
No, wait, it's 28.9.
Yes.
That's the inflation rate as of today.
Yes.
But look at what was planned in the budget. Okay, the food inflation, which touches the whole population, is 32, between 32 and 34.
Yes.
So
yes.
How are we going to realize all these projections?
Prof,
it's going to be very difficult.
I must thank you so much. I know we'll definitely have this conversation again. The challenge connecting just made us. But Prof. Ophilio Gwadeha, I must thank you. Despite the challenges, we're able to have you in. He's the professor of accounting, now University. Have a great weekend. I hope to have you on the program again soon.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very
All
much.
right,
Nice having you.
Yes, let's move to